Hi there, welcome to Carcassonne. It's the Champions League, and finally, after all qualifications are done, we are in the league stage. 5 weeks of 30 matches each, so a lot to cover. And the first two we'll witness today are Santiblader and Pakshe. I just noticed that these two would be playing here a few minutes ago, so uh, please bear in mind I wasn't uh, able to set things up yet, so quite likely have to do things to catch my words here. A few things still. So let's see. Pakshe, well, I guess you know him from Thailand, fourth place finisher of last season's Champions League. Top rating over 800 back in April, quite likely. Another peak over here back in September, but from then on, all down to 585 now. Unfathomable for me. Yeah, I'm flabbergasted. Wouldn't have expected Pakshe somewhere there. Don't know what happened there, but we'll see if he's able to bring his A game today now that it counts. His opponent today is Santiblader from Argentina. His rating more or less is what one should expect from him, roughly in the mid 600s. That's totally fine. Top rating near 700. I'm not sure if he's a master, but we maybe could check later. So there is still one thing I think I need to set up. Yep. So now everything should work, and let's figure out if these two have already set up the tournament. Looks like it. Here we go. Game is about to start. So this is it, folks. First Champions League game of this season, and I hope it will be a good one. Looks like they aren't playing a tournament here, opted for a regular game with slow time format, which is totally fine, at least according to the rules. If both opt play this format, it's definitely okay. Just a second here. So starts as expected. Santi going for the road, Pakshe taking 4 points. Santi thinking a bit about this move, not really sure why. Maybe doesn't like the usual continuation over here. But come on, it's your road. Even if this one dies in the end, you still have 6 meeples left. And you'd rather have this one safe than letting blue attack it immediately. It looks like both are a bit rusty. Yep. What else? Could have taken away. Yeah, I'm a bit rusty as well, obviously. Pakshe could have taken away monastery spots at the bottom, but why? If you have the chance to attack your opponent's road, possibly going for restrictions or kills, why not? Yeah, extender isn't ideal, but you'll find a place. With the one dagger gone, it's a bit tricky actually, but He could still go for any of these moves, possibly even this one in the middle. Or just go at the top, which would be problematic though. Just consider this one here. And yellow getting a curve to immediately restrict to a starting tile. Yeah, not easy. But this seems fine. Yeah, Santi. Sure, what else? You'd rather not compromise your cities, and if this here gets killed, maybe there's a chance to connect the roads, or at least force loose road into this square, hoping you could draw all starting tiles. I mean, the key in this moment is just try to entangle these 3 meeples, so you'd be able to have a meeple advantage in the long run. Sure, if blue builds up the ruin on the right side, they could score quite a lot of points there, but once the quadruple city is there, there should always be an option to attack this later on. Yeah, this ain't a move of a 585 rated player. This is a move of a master going for this restriction here, or possibly the kill. And if yellow closes up top, at least that'd still be an option to attack the city. So yellow might just protect now on the left side, which they do. That's totally fine. Yeah, Pakshe has a lot of options here. Could go for the top city, could try to harass the bottom city. Maybe even like this one. Not sure which one I like the most here, actually. You may chime in as well, if you'd like. Yeah, he goes for the top option. Maybe with the idea of linking these two cities, or at least creating a vulnerable square here once anything would be placed here. So I would pick this one, quite likely, securing the right side of the city, not allowing blue to attack here. And if they want to attack on the left side, at least they'd compromise the road connection square. The other option would, of course, just to extend the left city and secure this. There's no way to attack it immediately on the top. And that's what Santi does. It's the most threatening move. So now blue is hoping to draw one of the starting tiles, of course. Then their city on the right still has a chance. Yeah, Santi takes away options of adding a monastery there, and look at that, Pakshe just got one. So that alone was worth this road dump there, because this would not just be a great monastery spot, but also, of course, a platform to attack Yellow City on the left. So blue in the end quite likely will go here, even though it's a bit iffy as one dagger is already gone. So only two left here if any road would obstruct. But he doesn't go for this. He'd rather create the option to block this square or restrict it to the same dagger I mentioned. But yellow immediately was able to defend by closing the city there. And once closed, this should be the first bigger advantage in this game. Not just getting the points, but also having more meeples at their disposal for yellow. So Pakshe's creativity might give him an answer here. I mean, he could go for this option, maybe even taking the road, hoping to create a loop here, and also possibly attacking the city. And if not, there would be an option like this here, killing the square, hoping to kill the city with it. Could do the same the other way around, but I think this here is a tad stronger. Yeah, he goes for it. Nice. Yeah, is it a find? I don't know. Nice idea, at least. And if Santi goes here, then there would be another option for blue to attack, or with a big city tile, force yellow city into a shared square here, which he could manipulate, of course, later on. So threaten or kill it. So it's not that easy. And the other way, of course, would lead to the aforementioned blocking option. That shouldn't be on yellow's agenda. And then there's not doing anything about the situation for now at all. Maybe just adding the Dorito up top. But I mean, 3 vanillas are gone. So the odds aren't bad for yellow here. Question is this option here better than the direct approach? And the deck answered, no, it isn't. But I think it was almost 50-50. Oh, he did go the other way around. Okay, sorry, folks. Yeah, sure. I mean, at least you take away all options from your opponent to attack the city. But again, this one could be killed here with a Rotorito. And even if you get a Rotorito, what do you do then? Quite likely not use it over here, right? Because then you open up your city for attack again. So you'd have to wait to get either a dagger or a rose to close your city here. Oh, it's roughly better than the 50-50. With one dagger gone, there are still 8 caps to close Yellow's city. But after Yellow's moves, there were still 5 road Doritos left, plus the 3 horses. So actually, it's not even better than a 50-50, but slightly worse. On the other hand, there are curves which significantly improve Yellow's situation here. So then we'd be, I don't know, at maybe 55-60% in Yellow's favor, possibly. Oh, we'll see. Yeah, actually could now reduce the options to 3, but compromising this road quite severely. And actually, I don't like this at all, especially not with only 2 meeples in hand and 2 of them already hinging on a specific piece. I think he'd rather add this on the left to stack monasteries there. Yeah, here we go. Santi draws the first starting tile. After this very protective move, could have also closed the city on the right side, of course. He has no ideal square to use this cap now, but he has meeples in hand, so why not just start a new city on the right, create an option to attack a loose city if needed later. Pakshe's cow. Yeah, for one, there is nixing this option. The other one he might consider quite likely is expanding the city up top, creating an option to harass Yellow City there. The problem with this one being the 3 wind caps still out there, which could lead to a city closure plus an attack with tempo. So he'd rather uses the safe approach and is rewarded. At least he doesn't lose the chance to close the city on his own. Not a fan of this farmer though. Sure, could extend the field here and create a huge field in the end even. But with, what was it, 7 Doritos still out there plus splitters, leaving this cap next to blues empty. Not my move, but he chose it and it worked. Getting a horse immediately afterwards. Now this one is stuck there. Sure, it's a field. It has definitely potential on the left, city on top, options again to extend. With our penultimate meeple, I'm not sure that's the way to go. So still no change about the situation at the bottom. Yellow wasn't able to get a fitting cap for now, and blue didn't get anything to kill the city. Basically, both draw the tiles the other one needed. So Pakshe got a cap, Santi got a horse, which of course would be the best piece. Might not even be the best piece for Pakshe. Might rather like this one to cap the ruin at 7 or 8 points. Then a horse, which sure would give him the road meeple back, but would also give yellow the chance to expand the ruin to the bottom. Second horse in yellow's hands. So they still have the splitter option here. Therefore, looks to me like taking the 3 points on the left should be the way to go. Yeah, and I think I didn't mention this one here. That was placed by Santi, and he'd rather try to restrict this here to prevent blue from possibly closing the city, which would be, of course, a huge threat, but that's a threat for, well, down the road sometime. I think securing your city options would have been the better move there. Considering if you'd placed the curve here, sure, in some cases, blue would score a 4-point loop, but closing the road would be my priority. And in this case, you'd still have 5 caps left, and there would be 0 immediate blocking tiles for blue. So maybe not ideal. It looks like he really would want to kill this here, which I understand it. It prevents the worst outcome, which of course would be blue closing this city for, I don't know, 26 or something. But, well, it's a lost mini, or will be a lost mini battle in the end. For now, these 2 meeples score 8 points, but it's quite likely that blue would still extend their ruin. Again, a useful cap in blues and not in yellow's hands. Pakshe also created another platform to harass yellow's city up top, which is their most valuable feature apart from the city on the left. Another starting tile in yellow's hands, so only 1 left for blue, which isn't that crucial anymore, at least not for now, that blue has at least a temporary meeple majority, although it looks like they should have it for the long run as well, unless yellow manages to close their city here and threaten the road or block blue's road somewhere over here then. or maybe just not there, but with the dagger, there'd only be one curve left actually for blue. Yeah, this would be the perfect piece for yellow. And this here is dead after Pakshe drew the starting tile. Again, yellow used a curve somewhere else, so fearless about this situation, which I still don't get. And in this case, also wasted 4 points, which yellow could have taken to close the loop. Looks like he's even thinking about scoring the 4 points instead of closing the city at the bottom. Yeah, so 4 points now, adding a cap there, which could land on yellow's field later on. Worst news for them, one splitter gone, so rather unlikely that they'd be able to close the city. They would need not just a splitter, but also the last remaining right-handed dagger. Yeah, rather unlikely to get both, of course, roughly 23, 22% right now. And building a bigger city at this point in time quite likely won't work. Especially when there are no big city tiles left. So something like this plus 2 more caps would be an option, but that's so unlikely. They should just rather hope for splitter and dagger. But Santi might just not need this at all if he manages to connect here before Pakshe adds a farmer there, for example, or over here. In the end, this looks like a very, very close game, and it should be till the end. The best quick point tile right now might be the curve here to take 4. Yeah, yellow playing this still as a city, even though it quite likely will become a ruin. For now, it's still alive. There's still 1 rose left. There'd still be another dagger here and multiple caps on the right. And they are at +7. So Pakshe needs to think about other features maybe. He could attack this now, of course. But adding to the city might be a good choice as well. Another option I would have considered would have been the field here, but with a shielded tile, it's pretty annoying. That's devastating. That's devastating for blue. 9-point move. 9-point move for yellow. Adding a city to their farm, plus the monastery. Now they are +14. Yeah, Pakshe needs to close the city, needs something to connect here. Add a farmer as well, possibly attack this, maybe even take a combined field over. And he definitely needs a cap before yellow gets their hands on any Dorito. Even though there's still a splitter left, so wouldn't be that problematic if yellow were to force blue city into this horse here. Yeah, but straights just don't do a lot for blue here. Yeah, so 2 straights versus 2 crossroads. +2 for yellow in this small exchange here. Doesn't look good for Pakshe, but at least he gets to close the city on the left now. Creates another 6-point field for anyone to take in the end, quite likely. Yeah, it might be interesting idea for yellow to do something about this here. So they could opt for this option just to take away some ways to connect into their field, but actually that would make it easier for blue to attack, restricting this here to the 2 remaining road Doritos. They just opt for the sane away, securing another field on the side, extending their lead to 17. But 17 with only 1 meeple in hand versus 3 in Pakshe's. So if he somehow manages to attack this field, or if he just take this one now for 6 plus 2 for the road, it reduce the virtual score quite significantly to almost half. The difference on the scoreboard actually. So it's -9 now, and blue still has a meeple more in hand than yellow. There's still the splitter left to connect here, which would reduce the deficit by another 3 points and add possible attacking options. It's tricky for yellow, so this is out of the question. You don't want to create easy options for your opponent. This here they could consider adding 1 point to the monastery, leaving a cap here to be scored hopefully for their city, ideally by drawing the splitter to prevent blue connecting into their field. They could consider this one as well, going for a block here, but this would lead to options like this one, which protects Pakshe's connection and gives him the chance to score a 6-point city, plus an option on the left to connect there, or to attack the city, the field again. Yeah, but he's down 10 points, so the 6 plus 3 with this option, it's not ideal. So I would even consider farming there right now, just leaving this as is, hoping to win the 50-50 or the connection square. There aren't many blocking pieces over here, so the only one basically would be the rose. And if you don't add the farmer there now, then yellow quite likely will on their next move, if they happen to draw anything with the road. Which could lead to other complications for yellow, of course. So yeah, actually still has 40 seconds left, and my money would be on this move here. He doesn't. Okay. Okay. This isn't the safer option for him, because any restriction from the right would be an immediate kill. But if he happens to get the twin caps, it would be the most profitable way for him to close this city. So this gives him not just well, the splitter isn't really that profitable anymore. If it's just used to connect here, that doesn't help. That would be just 3 points out of 10. So yeah, he gets the twin caps. Still takes another look at the vanillas, but all 5 are already on the board. Where's the 5th one? There's still one out there. Oh boy. No, it's right there. So there is no option for the double field attack left. And in the end, you close the city and take the field up top, hoping to draw the last rose to either score 4 or 6 points for the field. No, 6 points for the field it will be, as he is the second player in this game and only has 2 meeples and 2 moves left. So this gamble here worked out perfectly for blue. Gamble because when he placed the Dorito there with 7 tiles left, 3 of them were curves or curvies to immediately kill the city, and there were only 2 caps to close the city. And so he basically needed his opponent to draw one of the few pieces. Santi, oh boy, oh boy. Santi placed the straight here, right? Why not there? Could have taken away at least the twin caps, leaving only a splitter to close the city. Ooh. So 5 points at the bottom for yellow. Blue's hopes riding on drawing the rose. There's nothing else left. Takes another 6-point field up top. And I was wrong. Doesn't even need the rose. Because he's at +1 and no, he needs the rose. Yeah, no, he doesn't need the rose. If he gets the rose, he wins here. If he gets the splitter, he wins there. If he gets the curve, he just adds 1 point to the road. And yeah, this works out fine. The only option for yellow to still win this one would have been getting the rose to get a meeple and then claim this road here likely. Yeah, well done. This gamble up top won Pakshe the game in the end. So he didn't go for any two-step field attack, which might have been or would have been ill-advised. Still not sure about this. And especially this situation could have been avoided by yellow just placing the straight there. So that this one here would only have been a 6-point field if blue doesn't get another cap to close the city, of course. I mean, yellow farmer there would have been quite likely too much with still tiles out there for blue to score points and monastery, for example, for yellow to score quite a lot in the end. Yeah, well done, well done. Definitely an endgame to check out again. So will they start the next one or will they take a break? Second game it is. Yeah, best start you could hope for as second player in a game. Your opponent drawing a shoddy road, you getting the shielded extender. Can't ask for better pieces here. And he immediately gets to close the city as well and should. No need to gamble, no need to wait. Worst that would or could happen, be your opponent drawing a big city tile and then force your extender city into one of these road ends. Yep. I sure get the creation of a second city, but in this case, I don't like it at all. I don't think it would have been bad to claim the road on top of your city. Probably being able to harass blue's road here. maybe creating a bigger loop road, something like that. But it looks like yellow didn't like this option. They wanted to have an open city just in case they got another extender the next turn, or twin caps for that matter. I'm still not a fan. It's unlikely, sure, but what do you do if your opponent gets a quad city or a shoddy cow? But Pakshe opted to go for the city. Quite likely didn't like adding a shielded triple city to yellows. We'll see what he'll do with the cow now. He goes for this here, hoping to kill yellow city there. And that's a grave which yellow dug more or less for themselves. It should be, at least to my knowledge, random user string. Yeah, so yellow indirectly defends as they had no city tile in hand, of course. At least reducing the tiles blue could use to kill the city. And rightfully so. At the cost of 2 points, or 4 points, because blue would have liked to use the Dorito on the left side. Blue could have killed not just the one meeple, but possibly blue's second city meeple as well. And that's why keeping it simple sometimes just is the best idea, even though the principle of two cities is of course correct. But at some point you have to close cities anyway, so still not a fan of this one, as you might have noticed. Boy. And he even connects there when there are still two splitters out. Hey, Sergey. Yeah, that's usually a nickname from a password safe. And there are user and password input mixed up on creation. But back to the game. Not sure about Santi's play here. Maybe he was rattled by losing the first one after it looked very good for him. Yeah, well, check out if you can log in. Sure, go for it. Yeah, what to do with your Pakshe now? It's a bit tricky. You'd rather keep your hands away from these squares, as anything over here would give yellow a platform to protect their city and take away killing options. You'd rather not go here, because you'd endanger your city, of course. Going over here would be annoying as well. This is out of the question, so that's the only square that's left. And of course, you take the left cap. Aha. Hey, Kyrillo. And why is the channel ID displayed? Ah, okay. Thanks for clearing that up. So, yellow almost going all in here. At least going all in with 3 meeples on one square, needing a specific tile, and that specific tile is a right-handed dagger. Blue, of course, smells blood here. And the blue sharks circle, trying to kill this one. But they don't get anything. Yellow immediately, of course, defended, even if it's indirectly. Now directly leaving a very good shot at closing the monastery, at least. The city, though, looks rather cumbersome now after blue's cow gift on the right, necessitating more pieces to close this one than yellow, of course, would have liked. And their original city is still out there, still not closed, still not attacked, still not harassed by anything. It might get soon, because I don't think Pakshe cares about this one. Again, there are still 3 daggers left of both versions, so 3 here if anything were to happen to this city. But taking the 4 points here creates an option to attack yellow city now. Yellow scoring quick points, but also giving a road end to blue, which it turns out blue doesn't need. Gets a crossroad of his own. Of course, me playing this here, 3-point road, sure. Yeah, yellow with only 1 meeple in hand. Doesn't use the monastery for scoring purposes, just tries to get another option to restrict blue city on the left. Pakshe could now bend yellow's road into the restricted square as well, especially now that he has the first of 3 right-handed daggers in hand, and might like to close that city. Restrictions from the left side aren't really that potent, as there are still 3 left-handed daggers in the deck, and an attack would be yellow's last meeple, at least for now. Still has 2 cities to close and get a meeple back. but blue might be able to do something about this. And therefore he goes for this option, which I really like. Yeah, restriction by yellow incoming. Second right-handed dagger in blue's hands. Only one left for yellow. Not 100% sure about this meeple here. Because without the meeple, blue had at least the last remaining cow to kill the city once and for all, or a bunch of Doritos to restrict the city in a second place to one piece. But with the meeple, I'm not so sure this was the best idea. So finally, restrictions of yellow city. Yellow protects. Blue doesn't care anymore about this city. He does the one and only sane move here, which is to immediately kill not just this road, but 4 of yellow's meeples, as he got the last remaining right-handed dagger. Sorry, folks, but this looks like game over, unless yellow gets pieces to close their existing features ASAP and something to kill blue city, which they don't. But maybe they turn the tables on blue here, drawing the other 3 daggers. So for now, just closing the city, hoping to kill blues is their best shot. So not deserved. Blue gets the splitter to extract one of their meeples. But at least yellow managed to kill the city on the left. Blue gets another meeple out of harm's way by closing this road, which could have been restricted from the left side with city pieces to restrict the road to the last starting tile. Didn't work out for yellow. Blue closed the road for 4, snatched a 6, possibly 9-point field. And there's really not much yellow can do here. They need to get these daggers. They need to close their city and hope to later get the road, or possibly close this over here beforehand, snatching 2 points, hoping to draw another road end, and then a later starting tile, or horse, not horse, rose. But it's definitely an uphill battle for yellow, and it's a very steep hill here. So at this point in time, I wouldn't give 5 cents on yellow's chances. But there were other games where folks had an even larger lead and still lost. But it's Pakshe we are talking about. Even though he's still not in the 600 rating-wise. Folks who are able to play on an 800 plus level should be able to win this game, and he definitely is capable. But he doesn't fall into the trap of playing hastily, just takes his time to analyze the options, quite likely figuring out whether it would be useful to go for a full restriction here and which of these two would be the better options. And if that were the question, then my answer would be this one, because then yellow couldn't use the dagger, which they need to prevent blue from closing their city to protect. Okay, Pakshe decides to go on the right side, which I don't get. Yellow indirectly defends because there are no right-handed daggers left, so no option to kill this in Pakshe's arsenal, but there are still curves to restrict the city to the one and only starting tile left in the deck. Yeah, Pakshe, if you see this later, please let me know about this move. Maybe he was... Yeah, okay, I get it. With only one splitter left and still... No, this wasn't there, right? This wasn't there. Yeah, well then... I don't see why he chose this one. I mean, it's safer than the left one, sure, but it also gives more options to yellow. Now let's see. So now it's plus 13 blue, both having only one meeple at their disposal. Still quite a lot of city caps left, so unlikely that blue won't get anything back. Not drawing a lot of caps sure would be a good way for yellow to climb back into contention. Especially, of course, the daggers. These two here are a must. If blue gets one, it's game over. Yeah, yellow creates a platform to restrict this square to protect their city and the road. Blue takes many options away immediately. And might now... Well, he could still pad the monastery, but I think limiting the city to the starting tile should be the move here. I mean, if you can remove 2 out of 3 closing pieces from your opponent's options, that should be it. And Pakshe concurs. Plus 15 now. Santi, the juicy Dorito. No big city tiles left, so maybe just hope to score some points. Doesn't. Plays it safe still. I think that might be too timid. With this score, you have to risk and you have to hope to just outdraw your opponent. So in a case like this, go for the city, hope they just get the road and maybe they harass you, but there are still a lot of caps out there to close this one. So just adding 2 points might not cut it. Even if you take away this monastery square here. Hey, Yanis. Yeah, this definitely wasn't on yellow's agenda. Blue drawing caps left and right. So not even drawing both daggers is enough for yellow here. Need to close the cities. Need to attack blue's 9-point field, and they sure hope it'll be a 9-point field in the end. Everything else would be a disaster. And now Santi is at minus 24, 23. A meeple down. Blue will close this one. Might even drop a farmer. They'd have 2 cities on the field already. Alternative would be to add an insurance farmer on the left side, which they quite likely will drop soonish. Yeah, finally. Yellow closes the city, which could have been closed on their, what was it? Second move already, I think. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think this was yellow's second move. Didn't work out in their favor, adhering to the principle of 2 cities in this game. Blue with an insurance farmer. And the daggers are still there. Boy. Yeah, as close as the first one was, this here sure isn't. And it's not just closing the city, adding 3 points, adding 11 via the city, but also getting another 6-point field for blue. So, oh boy. Pakshe wiping the floor with Santi. Sure, you could argue that blue's draws here of the 3 daggers in rather quick succession and comparably early on was just lucky. And I mean, you'd be right there. The likelihood of drawing all 3 is roughly 12%, and that early on would have been way less, but sometimes stuff like that just happens. And so you shouldn't give your opponent a chance to force something like this here. And this starting tile, this curve, these two might have been the crucial moves for yellow here, even if they looked quite fine in the beginning. I'm sure they didn't envision this one in the early going. And now we are at plus 43, 46. Quite the blowout. But both still taking their time to find the best moves here. Oh boy, oh boy. Pakshe scores 4 quick points, also takes away, or annihilates rather, yellow's farm, unifying these 3 fields here. And now has sole control. Yeah, when this one's over, I think I'd like to check the end game of the first, or the pre-end game maybe, because at one point, if I remember correctly, Pakshe was down roughly 14, 15 points, but with 3-1 meeples in hand. And then he saw the chance of creating a city with an adjacent 6-point field, plus the possibilities to either extend the field or create a secondary one next to it, which saved his bacon, even though it wasn't really that likely. At least that is what I think about it, or thought about it. But we'll see. This one here, I mean, I think I've said it all. I'm not a fan of leaving this one open in the beginning when you could have closed this. And sure, yellow ran into a stacked deck, more or less, going for the city was theoretically totally fine, but then Pakshe got the 3 daggers yellow needed after being able to prevent blue from killing the square. And it almost was game over back then. So congratulations to Pakshe. Quite a good start into this season. And let's take a look at the end game of the first one. So I think he will get now a Dorito. No, he doesn't. First close the city on the left. And then it was yellow's Dorito now, right? Yeah. So yellow with the Dorito. Well, plus 11. Sure, they took this field on the left side. Might have been fine. Not sure it was absolutely necessary at this point, but definitely not a bad move. The one thing I'm still not sure about is this situation. Maybe they could have considered this move, taking away some options from blue to connect the road and take the field, which is an 8-point move for blue. So this basically would leave the curve and the dagger for blue to connect here. And the curve, of course, would score 4 points for anyone at the bottom as well. Yeah, this looks like a more patient, maybe too passive move. The one I originally suggested was this, but again, this would give options to blue as well to possibly create a city here and connect to yellow's field. So definitely not a fan of that one. The other side might have worked better, but in the end, if I were to go here, I would have picked this move just to take away the road Doritos. Equalizing the city or harassing it doesn't really do a lot. So then taking the field seems better, especially because there are still splitter and twin camps out there, which sure blue would use up top, but they could use a second one on the left to create another 6 to 12 point field. Yeah, so I get why yellow took the field. And they also killed this monastery square, which sounds like a good idea as well, with blue having 3 meeples in hand and still 1 monastery out there. Please elaborate, Kyrillo. You mean like this one? Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. So blue wouldn't use caps here, as what Kyrillo says, and he's right, because blue needs them up top, or second option to claim a field on the left side, maybe, or claim and expand a field. So yeah, the threat of building up a bigger city here isn't really that potent, but what does this then do? Does it really improve yellow's field? Does it take away the most likely options from blue to claim this field? I think not, because the curve would score 4 points here anyway. and the dagger would rather land up top. So you basically would need a second piece from the left to kill the option of creating a 6-point field here. Yeah, there are no good tiles. I mean, the best yellow could have done would be to restrict this to a crossroad. Then we'd only have 3 points here, 3 points there, and it would be rather tricky for blue to attack the top field. So if you don't restrict this to a curve, which I get why yellow didn't, because they saw the 6-point field, and the 6-point field in the endgame, if you are the side with less meeples, definitely is very juicy. It's a 12-point swing, and blue would have jumped on the chance to claim this with tiles not useful for their situation up top. Hey Pakshe, congratulations. Yeah, so now we are here at this situation, totally fine with me. I would have done the same. Yellow now. So I had these two suggestions basically. Santi in the end chose this one. And it might have been the better of the two, just due to the presence of the rose still in a deck. But the problem with this is if you close a city over here, you'd always open up your 12-point field for attack from blue, and this could really turn south here. Now let's consider another option, something like this. So if yellow were to close over here, there are some ways where blue could not just tie this, but also get a straight to take this over with their two meeples, which is not the case if you just add this next to your monastery. Sure, you'd only have 2 caps to close this. But I think it would have been okay as well. Yeah, so I'm not convinced that yellow's chosen move was the better one, even though it gives them a useful spot for roads. So most prominently a straight or a crossroad, and a way to get the monastery back. But I think the bigger upside would have been to add this here, hoping to draw either the rotary to or the rose after closing a city, preferably. And here we are, Pakshe's saving move, basically, or combination. So he's at -10. He needs to score a lot, 6 point, this one here, Kirillo. Yeah, I'm not convinced. But if yellow doesn't take it, blue quite likely would. So problematic. I think I still would have liked the restriction to a curve or dagger in the middle, just to take away one option from blue, even though it still leaves the 6-point field. But let's take a look at Pakshe's options now. So for one, there's of course this here, but again, as I've sketched earlier, this is tricky. You can't really go for the city because then you leave this prime option for yellow to add a farmer. And if you go for the farmer yourself, there are options to completely block this immediately. Actually, there's only one option, which is the rose. And there are options to create a rather difficult road into this field. And also, you need to draw the splitter to have any chance here at all. So is this, or would this one be more likely than the chosen approach? Tough to say. So there are 3 killing pieces in the deck. In addition, there is 1 piece to restrict your city to a 50-50. And there are only 2 pieces to close this one. So basically, your chance is to successfully execute this, I don't know, 15% maybe? Can't really be a lot better than that. But apart from this one here, I don't see anything else. I didn't see anything, and I still don't see anything. I mean, the most prominent feature of yellows would be this one here. City attack is gone now because this is the last connection piece. So there's still 4-point loop there, but it only scores 4 of 10. Yep, Pakshe, you're right. This more or less was grasping at straws. And it was a nice idea, definitely. And at least the path to victory there was not murky, which would have been the case here. That's that one totally clear. Either you get one of the saving tiles, or rather tile combinations, as you need to dodge quite a few tiles first. So yellow definitely can't draw anything to go over here and restrict the city, which they did, but didn't use. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this farmer would have the upside of creating more usable pieces, because in this case, everything but the regular monastery would be useful for blue. Well, depending, of course, on yellow's next tile, because yellow could restrict this connection could restrict the city. And the problem here is you only have the 3 moves left and you need to make every move count. So even if you later get the splitter for 9 points, no, 12 points. Okay. Because if blue gets the splitter, they'd connect to yellow's 9-point field with their 6-point field. That's 3 plus 6 for the city, plus at least 3 for this farmer, so 12. But the question then would be, is there another re-attacking option for yellow, maybe at the bottom? Yeah, you have to get the divider, that's for sure. Pakshe commented this. That's for sure. If you go here, you have to win the flip for the divider and get it. But you might not need your second farmer making it onto the field. This quite likely would have been a winning condition, but not your only one, because this winning flip alone would score 12 points, and basically that's all you need. Yeah, but frankly, I can't figure out whether this one here would be better than the chance up top. Still need a simulator for this. So let's hop to Santi's move. So Pakshe went up top, threatening to close the city and claim a 6-point field. And what do you do about this? Well, no killing tile in hand, but a tile which restricts this city to a 50-50, and not just that, it would also take away the continuation we saw in the end. That is Pakshe claiming a 9 and a 6-point field. So not just 4 points from the city, but also 15 points in fields. 19 points total, which flipped the game on its head. So Santi went for this move, giving him a 50-50 chance at getting another meeple back, while also scoring 3 plus 1 point for the monastery. But I don't think he needs the second meeple. He rather needs to prevent worse things from happening. And the worst thing that could happen would be blue closing that city and taking the field, plus creating another option there. So to me, going over here was definitely a mistake by Santi. I think the restriction was a must, even though it was unlikely that your opponent would draw one of the 2 tiles. It's a 1 in 3, because 2 out of 6. But a 1 in 3 that might win your opponent the game, I'd rather take the 1 in 6 over the 2 in 3 that I might get another crack at restricting or killing this. Because if Pakshe doesn't get the twin caps or the splitter, he might get, for example, the rose and could self-restrict. Or he might get another of these blocking pieces, and then Yellow might get just a monastery. No blocking option, no restricting option. So I don't know. I'd rather take this 1 and 6, prevent worse things from happening. Half block meaning this one here, I think, Kyrillo, but blue needs this tile to connect to the field. To which field and where? Over here. I get you. I get you. Yeah. So this here restricts blue to the one and only splitter, and that's exactly the same tile blue would need to connect into yellow's field for 3 points. Yeah, right. And that's another good reason for restricting blue city up top. Yeah. Yeah. Well, decide. Use the straight up top to restrict blue city to the splitter or not? I think it's a good move, and I would choose this definitely. Sure, trying to get another meeple back, yeah, costs you at least 1 point, but this year does way more for your winning percentage than going for the second meeple. So I don't see any reason not to go for this move. Because in this case, your winning chance at least is the flip for the splitter. So if you win the splitter, you win the game definitely. And if you don't, you still have +9. So once your opponent gets the splitter, they score 10 and they would be at +1, then you'd still have the starting player advantage. Rose might be enough. Okay. So Kyrillo concurs. Then I think we've talked enough about this one. Sadly, Santi didn't. And then I think from this point onwards, there really isn't anything to talk about, but let's see. It's just that simple moves for Pakshe from now on. And now the game is tied. Santi did go for the monastery. But was this correct? I don't think it was. Because basically, he needs to outscore his opponent now. And definitely needs to draw the rose. If he gets the rose, it would have been a 7-point move with a meeple in hand and only a 3-point move with none, or on his next turn, he could even consider to get a second meeple at the cost of 3 points and leaving this road in the open with a crossroad. Nah, he wouldn't do that. He would just score the 7 here. But I think meepling the monastery with only one move, only one meeple in hand and only one piece to get meeple back, which is the rose. I'm not so sure. Yeah, that was the plan. So what Kirill is saying, getting this one to get a meeple back and the splitter, either way works to score another 7. This would have been, well, with one additional point maybe in the end. No, even more, because he'd have a meeple in hand. So 5 plus 7, 12, 13 plus whatever he'd score on the last turn. Yeah, this would have been enough, but the likelihood of getting the rose on the next or penultimate turn plus the splitter afterwards, well, I'm not sure. Again, I think Santi put himself into a situation which was preventable, and this straight here was the real problem, not everything afterwards. So he took the monastery. Pakshe didn't get curve or rose, which both would have been better than the crossroad. What did he actually do with the crossroad? Liberate this one, take the field, maybe? I can't remember. Or take the 6-point field up top, right? Yeah, 6-point field. Yeah, and that's the problem, no? Yellow has the meeple stuck there. Now they get the 4-point scoring tile, which they can only use to score 1. Can't really do anything about this situation. And then the rose, which in this game is the last nail in yellow's coffin. Yeah, so this trait, the root of all evil for yellow's endgame. The monastery, maybe debatable, maybe it was okay, maybe it would have been better not to go there considering all the quick point tiles still in the deck. I think I would have just dumped this up top to at least take away this one here. But that's easy for me to say. I'm just an armchair commentator here. So I think we've talked enough about this one. Doesn't look like Pakshe is still there, so can't ask him about the situation. Let's hope he just comments later. And let's take a quick look at the main page. Yeah, so Belgian Carcassonne Online Championship tonight, playoffs. They still haven't played all group stage games, so not sure if this really takes place. I'll try to figure this out. Maybe I'll cover this one. Don't know if it works out, but we'll see. And upcoming matches, I mean, there's no use talking about these. Folks had just a few hours to schedule games, so there will be loads more. As I said in the beginning, 30 matches per week, 15 in the Earth League, 15 in the Space League, 5 weeks of league stage play, so 150 matches, and many of them on a very high level. So I'll hope to see you all rather soon. Keep an eye on the front page of Carcassonne.gg to check all streams out, because I'm sure Alexi and Otto will stream a lot as well. Of course, like and subscribe if you'd like to. Hope to see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking around. We need an overview of all matches. Yeah, well, there is. Front page. And if you really want to dive deep, check the matches here. I mean, there are all 30. And later on, of course, there's the cross table. Even special highlights, special thanks to Sergey to picking up my suggestion here with a simulator. So in the later stages of the group, so for example, between week 4 and 5, you could insert results yourself to calculate their, yeah, this one was just added to calculate the outcome, the implications for the standings with specific moves. So let's flip this around. And then Pakshe goes to 1 match win, 1 match loss, of course. Definitely a nice thing and way easier than adjusting these numbers by scribbling. So thanks a lot to Sergey. And review from you after matches. Please elaborate, Kyrillo. I don't get what exactly you mean. If you're still there, that is. And if not, well, I'll wait a few seconds. It should be 150. And I think I get it. It's unlikely. But thanks for the suggestion. So I'm out of here. See you soon. Bye-bye.